Do you know that ATMs spitting out money, random bank accounts quadrupling their balances overnight, and massive amounts of money appearing out of nowhere? This may seem straight out of a Hollywood movie. However, this is closer to reality than you might think. Many years back in 2014, possibly even earlier, a mysterious and unknown group of hackers had infiltrated the systems of dozens of financial institutions, stealing over $1 billion in the process for themselves. They thought they were invisible until the anti-cybercrime company named Kaspersky Labs discovered exactly what was going on. These Kaspersky Labs went on to team up with intelligence agencies from all over the world in an attempt to put an end to the cybercriminals known only as the Carbon Yank Group. Welcome to Roladel Business. Before we start, please hit the Roladel Business subscribe button to never miss out on any of our future videos. To understand how the hackers managed to infiltrate banks and crack ATMs all around the world, we have to go back a few years. 12 years ago in 2010, the computer security expert Barnaby Jack attended a Black Hat hacking conference and made a presentation that would forever change the life of both cyber criminals and cybersecurity experts. He presented a system of hacks which he would name jackpotting. This jackpotting was the dream of almost every cyber criminal and the nightmare of every cybersecurity expert. It was the process of hacking an ATM and making it pull out cash on the spot to make things even better. He showed the audience two different ways to hack an ATM machine easily. In the first option, the attackers had to physically connect the ATM machine to a device such as a computer or a tablet. Once it was connected, they activated malware specifically designed to gain control of the ATM machine. If the malware worked as expected, the hackers only had to press a few buttons on their device to make the ATM pull out as much cash as they wanted. You may ask yourself how this is done, and surprisingly enough, it's a lot easier than most people think. An ATM machine is usually composed of two different parts, which is the lower part and the upper part. The lower half of the ATM is heavily protected and contains the cash deposit of the cash machine. You could say that this part is the safety vault of the ATM. The second half of the cash machine is the top box, which contains several elements such as a printer for the receipt, a camera, a speaker, the display, and most important part, a computer that controls the ATM. This computer is directly connected to the cash dispenser, and by hacking into this computer, criminals could gain total control over the ATM machine. The thing I want you to keep in mind is that unlike the cash dispenser, this computer is not as secured, even though it is just as important. This was a major flaw because hackers could easily break the exterior or even buy general access keys for these ATM machines on the dark website. Once the top box of the ATM was opened, it was over. The hackers only had to connect their device to the computer, activate their malware, and collect all of the money. Even though this was already spectacular, it was the second option that left the audience speechless. Barnaby explained that by hacking into the internal cash system of a bank, attackers should be able to activate any ATM of the bank and make it pull out as much money as they wanted without ever leaving even a single fingerprint on a machine. The cherry on top of all of this was that in both cases, no personal information was required. No credit or debit cards had to be inserted into the ATM machine, nor were account details needed. Both options were completely anonymous ways to hack the ATM machines. All of this may seem pretty cool, but it is even worth it to go through the hassle of hacking an ATM. And the answer is yes. The reason is that some ATMs contain somewhere from $200 to $450,000. And even though these are rare, most contain around $60,000, which is still a considerable amount of money. All of this makes ATM machines very attractive to thieves and hacking enthusiasts such as Barnaby Jack. After his incredible presentation, Barnaby had become a legend in hacking circles. Hackers and cybersecurity experts all around the world were talking about his presentation. However, there was one group of people who saw his presentation as a serious problem. Banks and other financial institutions were now at risk of getting robbed at any time and at any of their ATM machines. They had a big, and we mean a very big, problem. If knowledge about jackpot were to spread, hackers all around the world would try to steal money and, in the worst scenario, even improve upon Bunny Bay's method. And this is exactly what happened. Only 3 years after the legendary jackpot presentation, the first large-scale attack was reported in Mexico. In a truly massive operation, a group of hackers compromised over 450 ATMs from 4 of the largest Mexican banks and stole over $40 million in a matter of days. The banks noticed their ATM machines were almost empty only a few hours after they had been filled, and they thought that the delivery drivers were stealing money from them. But this wasn't the case. Upon further investigation, they found out that all of the ATMs with the abnormal cash movements had been affected with software named Plutus Made in Latin America XD. Plutus was the first of its kind in basic terms. It was a malware designed to infiltrate and gain total control over ATM computers that were running on software made by Carl. Because Carl is one of the leading companies when it comes to ATM software. The hackers could now hack into a variety of ATMs from different banks. Just as Bunny Bay Jack had shown a few years before, they would open the ATM with general access key, connect the device to activate the malware, and then use a keyboard to control and order the machine to release as much money as they wanted. This would be the first time that anyone successfully jackpotted ATMs for a large sum of money. And as you may think, the news spread like wildfire throughout hackers' circles, starting what many call the Pluto's wave. Cyber criminals all around the world began to use this Pluto's malware to steal money from ATMs, with banks allegedly losing around $2 to $3 billion during the next 12 months. To make things even worse, people were selling the malware and instructions on how to use it through the dark web, which meant that basically anybody could get their hands on it. Now you might ask yourself, why didn't the banks just update their cash machines? The answer to this is that they did a lot, but security updates were only a temporary solution. After every security update, banks would be safe for a few months until a new and better version of the Pluto's malware was created and sold on the dark web. What made it even easier for hackers was that most ATMs were often very old and running on Windows XP, which was extremely outdated, and support for this system ended in 2014 at a time when cash machines were being targeted almost every day. The biggest country victims of the Plutus malware were Mexico, Brazil, and other South American countries. As word about Pluto spread, it made its way to Europe and Asia, and Pluto's DX. An updated version of the malware even appeared in the USA in 2018. Plutus was truly a nightmare for banks all around the globe. However, the worst was still to come as the banks secured their systems to be safe from the Pluto's malware. Another much more complex malware appeared in 2014. That year, the anti-cybercrime company. The banks contacted Kaspersky Labs because an unknown group of people had been stealing money from their ATMs without even touching them. Upon investigation, Kaspersky Labs found that this had been going on for much longer. In this case, the hackers had been deleting security footage and transaction details for almost half a year and stole millions of dollars without anyone noticing. But this time, it wasn't just a Pluto's type can or a debit card charge. This was something new, something nobody had ever seen. It was a hack so sophisticated that the experts at Kaspersky Labs thought it might be part of a military operation against the economies of certain countries. The cybersecurity expert dubbed this new malware carbonic. It was untraceable, undetectable to conventional security systems and so powerful that and intelligence agencies all over the world had to team up to stop it. Check out part 2 over here and subscribe to Roladel Business for more awesome and interesting videos. Please let us know what you think about Pluto's and the start of jackpotting. Thanks for watching and bye for now.